Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's Darkest Timeline podcast. So there'll be games, movies, TV, something from the week when it was recorded. You know how it goes by now. If you're checking us out on YouTube, do subscribe. It's a big help to the channel. So there's that. Also, we're putting out the call for guests. We're looking for guests this year. We want to talk to people about any interesting jobs they might do or any sort of interesting hobbies. Are you a base jumper? Come and talk to us about it. So yeah, if you or someone you know has an interesting job or hobby, doesn't if it's interesting to you, it's probably interesting to us. So drop us a line, let us know what you do or what you're up to, and we'll get you on. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Whoa. Loud. Well, not as loud now. Maybe I was just picking up, I don't know, ghosts maybe. You right there, Petal? Right, I'm going to tell you what I'm drinking because I'm really into this guy. So, I am drinking Beavertown. I mean, let's just pause for a moment while we appreciate the name Beavertown. Laser Crush alcohol-free IPA. So here we go. Becoming a firm favourite in the cookhouse. At time of recording, it is a few days after Christmas. Funny old time, innit? Christmas. Things were getting real stressful. Just like there's so much to do and there's so much to get done and there's not enough time, and no matter how much you plan there just seems to be more, and it's all for that one day, that one meal, that one special gift. Well, all that's done with now. However, do get to do it all over again. Not the next day. Let's have a look on the list. Not a huge list, as I'm sure you imagine. A bit of a Christmas break. So we can talk about Christmas. Got some games. Two of which I will speak to you about. Got other games, but I haven't played them. I've barely installed half of them, and the other half that I've installed, I've only played one of, console-wise. It's that thing, innit? I'm wearing my new slippers, wearing my new jumper. Got it's kind of like a base layer. I got a Seahawks, one of those, and I am loving it. See, it's like games, not a single movie. That tells you what's going on there. Just don't buy stuff like that anymore, and don't ask for them, which again I will come to, because I've watched a film in the break, and that film would have been one I would have, I don't know, in a way kind of like to have owned, but in hindsight, we'll get to that. Lovely. So yeah, the one thing I know you're all dying to know is the Yorkshire puddings were acceptable. They went fine. They went. You know, I would say 7.5, 8 out of 10, as far as the Yorkshire's concerned. I think in a meal like that, it's surrounded by so much other stuff. You know, your vegetarian pigs in blankets for one thing. Mashed potato, roast potato, all the veg, other stuff in the different sauces, the cheese, the gravy, you know, all of that. It's a lot harder to pinpoint when things are exceptional versus whatever. Versus if it was bad, would it stand out? You know, works both ways. But as far as the cooking of the Yorkshires was concerned, all went smooth. So yeah, a little update there on Yorkshire puddings. Trying to think, standout item that I received as a gift. Use-wise, this base layer thing is really been really useful. It's been super cold today. Actually, for possibly the first time this year, had to put the fire on, and that wasn't cutting it. It was cold. So yeah. I don't know. Got some coffee, you know. Me and Liam were both talking about the fact that all of our Christmas stuff has been put away, which in years gone by that would be unusual. It's kind of, how do you explain it? When you get a lot of stuff for Christmas that either you're not going to use immediately or you're not going to use, how's the nice way to say it, at all. You just end up with a bag of stuff, don't you? And it just sits in a corner for 6 months, and then you go through it and you're like, I could use that, you know, that sort of bag. So yeah, everything got put away before the end of the day. So it was nice all in all. The youngest got some cool gifts. Here's the thing. This will sound awful, but bear with me. Shouldn't have bought her anything. That's the takeaway here. Shouldn't have bought her anything. I really felt this will also sound awful. I felt sorry for her more than once because she had to open more presents. How terrible does that sound? I was just like, oh bless her, she's it's just too much for her, and like just opening presents and presents and presents when it could be the second present she opened she's had the most use out of. And in hindsight, I think we should have not bought her anything. She has two incredibly generous grandparents. She's got a little group of friends, and they've done presents. She's got lots of aunties and uncles. They've done presents. So in hindsight, we really didn't need to get her anything. So that's the takeaway there. That's the learn. I realised the day before Christmas Eve that once Christmas Eve work-wise was done, that I was off work for 10 days. And I never realised until that point, and then spent Christmas Eve like, oh man, what am I going to do my 10 days off? And then when I actually looked at it, it was like, well, you know, Christmas Day is one of those. Boxing Day. Got second Christmas Eve, second Christmas Day. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. By the time you actually chop it out, I think I ended up working out I had like 1 or 2 days out of 10 days off, where there was actually nothing happening. So yeah, it was stressful up to the day. A little bit of stress where the making of the meal was concerned, but that's just all about getting the timings right and stuff. And if one timing goes wrong, then that can put everything out. And I had that early on. I'd put the roast potatoes in the oven at the wrong time. So what's then ironic is when the meal was ready and I was like, I think those roast potatoes need a little bit longer. Stuff like that, innit? That's how it goes. So we had Christmas Day, we had Boxing Day. What day is it today? Christmas Day, Boxing Day. Today is the day after Boxing Day. I'm not proud of this, but I did go out yesterday. I did go to a shop yesterday. I'm not proud of this fact, but I'm telling a little bit of fit because it wasn't a shop. I went to a cafe and bought a coffee. Little run out in it, get you out of the house sort of deal. And I wanted a coffee, so you know, I'm not proud. I wasn't one of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that were back at it on Boxing Day, but I was one of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that was out in the vicinity of shops on Boxing Day. So you know, little column A, little column B. So yeah, Christmas. Yeah, I want to say Christmas been and gone. You know, I was saying it must have been Christmas Day. I was saying, do you know the one thing I'll be glad the most when Christmas is over? That I don't have to listen to Christmas music anymore. Because 85% of Christmas music is not good. I like the crooners. I like my Christmas crooners. Frank, bit of Dean Martin, bit of Frank Sinatra. Those sorts of, you know, I like the classics. Anything even remotely modern, I'm not interested. So yeah, I'm just. And then Boxing Day rolled round and I walked into the dining room. I was like, what the hell's going on here? What's this music? This isn't Christmas music. A bit of Metallica blaring out. Mine's like, it's not Christmas anymore. It's like, thank F word for that. So I've been enjoying some live Wild Hearts. And should I have one this evening? Don't know. Can't think. Live Wild Arts maybe. Yeah, big fan. So that's kind of Christmas. I can't talk about, you know, there's a lot that I could say and I couldn't say because in our house at this point in time, Christmas is not done. So we're in this sort of a little bit of limbo right now. Yeah. If I was doing this podcast in a couple of days, I could be like, oh, that's what I was saying. I wanted, if it was me, I'd have taken the tree down by now, because I'm sick and tired of one of the cats trying to eat the tree. As well as everything on it, and the other one stealing all the baubles. So yeah, the tree could happily do one for me. Oh, one thing I did get, I got a digital photo frame, so I've been putting pictures on there and letting that sort of run. So that's nice addition. We always say we never do anything with our pictures. We take pictures on our phones and then they just sit there. I've got a phone next to me. It's got like 20,000 pictures on it. It's like, cool. They'll sit there. So that was a cool addition to the living space. Speaking of listening to music, a couple of weeks ago now, I saw an offer for Spotify. Now, I'm not a fan of the digital music service. I'm not a fan of paying for music. I'm not a fan of paying for music I own, and so on and so forth. But every now and then I get a notification from like Amazon. It'll be like, you can have 3 months of Amazon Music for £1 a month, whatever. I snatch their hand off. It's useful for the car. It's useful for home. That sort of stuff. Otherwise, it's often YouTube. So I saw a thing recently, and it was like, oh, Spotify. 3 months of Spotify for free. Like, okay, it's free. Why not? I don't know how these things work. After 3 months, you can't live without it. Guess what, Spotify? I absolutely will be able to live without it. For a series of reasons. One, I don't want to pay for music. I own a lot of music, so I don't want to have to pay for music. So that. The other thing is, in a world where everything like that is done through an app, I've got the app on my phone. I've got the Spotify app because once I got it, I downloaded the app, put the details in, job done. I today downloaded an app, a Spotify app for the computer. Reason being is that Spotify's website is fucking awful, and I say that because I've had the misfortune of having to deal with it for the last couple of weeks. It's terrible. It barely works because, like I say, I work on the principle that they're like, well, we've got an app, why would you use the website? Well, I didn't have the app. I had it on my phone, but I didn't have it on the computer, so I was using your website. You are largely, you are an internet-based service with a terrible website. It's like, do you want me to play that album that you've pressed play on? Yeah, that'd be good. If you could, that'd be real nice. I'll think about it. Do you know how long it's going to take you to make a decision? Could be a minute, could be 10 minutes, might be not at all. Alright, thanks for that, Spotify. That's really useful. Cheers. Cuts out when you're listening to music and it's just cutting out. Doesn't load stuff. The website itself doesn't load. Logging into it at points was nigh on impossible. It's like, how have you got a web-based service that's so bad? It's kind of inexcusable. Let's go with that. So here's the thing. As has been the thing for now then. Did I go for a run last Christmas morning? There's a part of me that feels like I would have done, or I would have wanted to, but then there's a part of me that thinks that I probably didn't. Anyway, it's been the thing for the last few years, where on a Christmas morning I like to have a run. So this Christmas morning was no different. I got up, got dressed in my running gear, went out the door. And it works on the principle that you're going to eat what is probably going to be the biggest meal that you've eaten all year. You know, even if you're a kind of person that has a Sunday dinner every Sunday, Christmas is just that bit bigger, isn't it? You're going to eat your daily calorie allowance in one meal. You know all the stuff. I don't even need to go through it all. I want to be ready for that, and by that I mean I want to be calorific. Can't be calorific. I want to be basically I want to be in the best possible position. I want to have done a run so that I can, skip breakfast, have a run, and all that sort of stuff. So I got dressed and I set out on my merry way. It's December. No surprises. It's a bit frosty out there. Set off, got up the hill, crossed the road. I was running along and I was like, who has gritted the path? It's like, whose job was it to get up Christmas morning and go and grit the footpaths? Where I am and where I go running, part of it is a university campus. And I was like, has somebody from the university done this? Was that their job? I saw people working when I was out running. I saw people in work vans. I saw people on building sites. You just can't help but feel sorry for people like that. It's like, oh man, Christmas Day, and you don't know the situation. You don't know, they might have a couple of hours, or they might be working all day. You don't know. I certainly don't know. But yeah, it really struck me as this thing. Like, whose responsibility was it to go out Christmas morning before I got out there and grit the paths? Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciated it hugely. I certainly appreciated it this morning when it was like an ice rink and I had a fair few slips between the house and the top of the hill where I start running from. But again, you start on your own, you're careful with your footing, maybe you have to go on the grass a bit, that sort of thing. Get over the other side of the road, somebody's doing the job, path gritted, away we go. But yeah, I was just like, man, imagine that, getting up. Like I say, it has to have been early. It has to have been reasonably early. And getting out there and gritting all the paths. And the where I've gone and run, it's not like just a little bit of path. It's the whole area was gritted. Right. Whoever's done that, hats off. I salute you. And like I say, this morning it was treacherous. I put it off as much as I could because I was hoping that the sun would sort of do its job, but no joy. So yeah, I was in some way blown away. I've had this thing. There was a point in time where I had like a run of about of a fair few years where I was able to say as one of the few people who would lose weight over Christmas. And because I made this big deal of the Christmas dinner being such a big thing, that working up to it, food intake would be reduced. The other side of it, food intake would be reduced. X amount of exercise, and what that produces is, even though you've had this big meal, when you step on the scales, you've actually lost weight. So I was very happy to see that when I stepped on the scales this morning, I can chalk up Christmas 2020 as one of those years. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is yet another year where I can say I've lost weight over Christmas. It's not a huge amount, but it was a loss. It was a definite loss of weight. But then I looked back and I reflected and I was like, I kept having these bouts of sickness. Not being sick, just feeling incredibly sick running up to the day, and that's a mixture of things. Stress, remnants of when I was younger and I used to get sick from being excited. Too much going on, too much to do, not enough time. And I think by the time I got to Christmas Day and that one meal, I was saying to Lan's mum, I was like, I don't remember the last time I actually ate anything. Did I have lunch yesterday? I never did get an answer on that. I presume I must have done, but Christmas Eve night I had a variety of jobs that needed doing. I ended up getting to the point where all the jobs were done and it was too late to eat anything, so just went off to bed. The other side, Christmas dinner eaten, it's like, oh, you having some pudding? No. I think we had a bit of something in the evening. That was it. And then Boxing Day, it's like, oh, there's all this food that needs eating. Yep, I didn't eat all day and just had some tea. So yeah, went out for a run this morning, got back, stepped on the scales, and yeah, weight loss. So I had mixed feelings about it. It's not exactly the healthiest way to do things, but a loss is a loss. I can see the next stone coming over the hill. But yeah, unfortunately, still a long way to go to get to the goal. There's still a long way to go. Yeah. So that's actually everything on the list. Not everything. A couple of films and a couple of games. That's it. That's before Christmas, I was desperately trying to watch Christmas films. You guys know me and Christmas, and I really try, and I feel like there are times when I succeed more than others. I try to inject Christmas spirit because it's not there naturally. And as I say to people, I basically had all the Christmas spirit beaten out of me. I was going to say not physically, but psychologically, let's say. So at the age I am now, the place I am in life, not being full of Christmas spirit is not acceptable. So I have to do things. So one of the things that I do is I listen to the Christmas music and I watch the Christmas films. This year, I started looking at films that I am aware of and films I have seen, but films that I wouldn't necessarily watch. So yeah, we watch, you can watch your Die Hard, your Bad Santa, your Scrooged, and so on and so forth. But then there's I looked at a film and I was like, I've seen that film before. I've seen it a couple of times, but I haven't seen it in X number of years. And X number of years is in the tens, possibly 20s. So I was like, do you know what? It's not something I would normally watch, so that's surely a reason to watch it. So I put on National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Like I say, it's been a while. Hilarious that one of the first scenes, they're driving down the road and it flashes into the back of the car and you've got a very young, what's his name, Johnny Galecki from The Big Bang Theory, and not quite young in that sense, but still very young, Juliette Lewis. And I was just like, that's hilarious. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. It's very much like I watched The Great Outdoors recently, and that's like, I was saying to somebody, I was like, you got to look at the fact that the two main actors in that film are John Candy and Dan Aykroyd, absolute giants in their field in the world of acting at that time. But then I was like, who's his wife in that? And it's Annette Bening, who realistically went on to, in some ways, be bigger than both of them. Obviously, the fact that John Candy's no longer with us, hasn't been for quite some time. There is that side of things. Dan Aykroyd, still trucking at these days. So, but yeah, her career just rocketed from that point. She is amazing in American Beauty. So yeah, there was this whole conversation. So there was this thing. I was looking up facts about Christmas Vacation all the time, yeah. And I ended up saying to Leon, I was like, so this is how it went. And I was like, whatever happened to Randy Quaid? Obviously, Randy Quaid is in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He says the immortal line. All of this. So this sparked this conversation. Obviously, there's Dennis Quaid. And I was like, Dennis Quaid married to Meg Ryan. It's like, oh, I don't know, but that does ring a bell. So she looked it up. Yes, Dennis Quaid, Meg Ryan. Alright, cool. I think that led on to a conversation about Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. But then it doubled back. She was like, here's something. Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan have a child together. A son called Jack Quaid. And I was like, I know that name. Why do I know that name? Wheels start spinning. And for some reason my brain went to Twitter. I was like, I seem to think I see that name on Twitter. Why do I see it? Oh, because that's somebody I've added to Twitter fairly recently. Why is that? Is he the guy from The Boys? She was like, yes. It's Huey from The Boys. It's like, wow. So yeah, I was reading stuff, reading up on it as a film, stuff about people and their difficulties working with Chevy Chase. Obviously, that comes back around again later in life with the Dan Harmon and the Community and the Chevy Chase and all of that. If you don't know about it, maybe and you're interested, you can always go and look it up. I'm pretty sure Donald Glover was involved there somewhere. But I was getting away from it. As a movie, as a Christmas film, again, very much for me, very much a that's Christmas to me. Christmas is an absolute fucking disaster. And I say these things and it's like it's not like my Christmases are these monumental disasters. It's just, I think that's maybe how it feels. I've had some corkers this year. Wrong labels on wrong gifts. Wrong gifts from wrong people. Yeah, I'm gonna have some explaining to do before the week's out. That's for sure. But hey, yeah. So, I've watched another film. I was going to come out and say it. I watched Tenet. Oh, where to even begin? At this point in time, I should probably do a spoiler warning, although my intention is not to spoil this film because I don't think I can. Here's the thing. If you sat down and watched Tenet and you got to the end and your response was, yep, I understood absolutely everything that happened in that film from start to finish, you are probably one of the confirmed geniuses of this world. Saw a thing the other day where Bert Kreischer was like, I'm watching Tenet for the 4th time. I'm like, oh yeah, it must be good if you're watching it for the 4th time. But then he went on to say, I still don't understand what happens in this film. It's like, alright. We didn't rent it. We bought it digitally. Len had some money on some Play Store, Google Play. So it was essentially, in a way, it was going to be free. So she was like, let's get that because that's the only film that we would have got this Christmas to watch. We didn't because we don't do that anymore. Like, yeah, alright, let's do that. Saturday night, cheat meal in hand, Tenet on the TV, let's do this. So, yeah. Chris Nolan. Now you have to remember, this is a man famous for doing Batman films, but famous for other stuff. Famous for out there and quite obscure films. Inception is the one that springs to mind the most, but is Memento the film that started it all? How am I going to get to that? Momentum toe. I spelled it wrong, but I still managed to find it. Dooby dooby doo. Director Christopher Nolan. Writer Christopher Nolan. Oh, now then. Sorry, I've gone down a rabbit hole at this point in time. Now then, did he do? Right, let's just go in and have a look. I know he's in Dunkirk recently. Oh, The Prestige. Oh, he wrote it. Interstellar. Yeah, that was the other one. Oh, he was executive producer on the Justice League. So let's talk about Tenet. So yeah, that's what I was saying. So every on the Play Store, I think it was, when she was looking at getting it, every review went like this: Tenet's an amazing film. It's a great film. A really good watch. It's really enjoyable. It's just the best. Next review: this is the worst film I've ever seen. It's terrible. Christopher Nolan hasn't got a clue. He should stick to making Batman films. Next review: this is the best film I've ever seen. It's absolutely hands down the best. It's so well done. It makes you think, makes you talk about it afterwards. It makes you come back to it. Amazing. Next review: I can't believe what I've just watched. This is the worst film I've ever seen. And it just goes like that. Like, the reviews are literally best film, worst film, best film, worst film. So we couldn't get a bead on it. It's one of the few films that's actually been released or been able to be released this year. Trailer looked interesting. So the thing about, like, there's the time travel, kind of. Time is involved. Let's put it that way. And you know me and my opinion on time. And that is, the moment time is involved, I'm a bit like, I'm good, thanks. But this takes because it's not time travel. This takes the time genre, pardon me, flips it on its head and then kicks it in the balls. I should have looked at the main guy. Robert Pattinson's in it. This is the film. I think this is the film that he's done before, taking on the Batman film. People were very quick to criticise the fact that he had been picked to play Batman. Then the trailer got released for Batman, and everybody went ballistic, saying how amazing it looks. I have no strong opinion one way or the other. From his time in Harry Potter, that was fine. Twilight, I'm less interested. I have no strong feelings against him. So if he wants to play Batman, go nuts. I believe he seems to be a reasonably good actor. Very strange thing in Tenet, and it's something that I meant to look up. He has a change of accent about 3/4, maybe even 7/8 of the way through the film. Like, why has your accent changed? Is there a reason for that? Is that part of the film, or is that a poor choice? I'll have to look that up at some point. I can't tell you it was a good film. I can't tell you it was a bad film. What I can say is, it's a film that makes you start out by going, what is actually going on? By the end, you understand more about what's happened in the film, but I don't believe that you could say that you understood what had happened. There was a couple of things. There was two things that I was a bit like, do we know that? Like there's a bit where this isn't a spoiler, 'cause I'm not going to tell you anything. But there's a bit where a guy finds something, and I was like, as the audience, as the viewer, did we know that was there, or have you just crowbarred that in? Felt a bit strange. And also, there's this whole sequence at the back end of the film, and I was like, I feel that you've jumped around with the time aspect that much that I don't know. Time is a funny old thing. So yeah. It has sparked conversations in our house. Obviously me and Leon watched it together. Again, I think if you asked her, did you enjoy it? I imagine her response would be kind of. But I also think that she'd be probably saying to you that she didn't really know what was going on. We had a lot of conversations about it, and we've talked about it since. But it's a hard film to recommend, because you can't go, oh, it's really good, you should watch it. You're kind of more going to be like, oh, you should watch it and see if you can work out what the hell's going on in it. Some of the reviews did say that it was made overcomplicated. Like, I think when you watch an Inception, you spend the majority of the time just like kind of barely holding on, but you are holding on. Like you're just about keeping up with it as a movie, which makes it entertaining enough to stick with. It's enjoyable. It's a film I've seen loads. I think Tenet loses some of that. Having seen it, I'm now like, how has Bert sat down and watched that film 4 times? I did say one thing to Leon after having seen it. I did say, I think once you get so far in it, if you give up on trying to understand the time aspect of the film, that allows you the opportunity for more enjoyment of it. Because I did find that to be a thing. So yeah, that's Tenet. I think my recommendation for that film is you should probably see it and see what you think. I think that's kind of where I am with it. So yeah, let's talk some computer games. I got a series of games for Christmas. One was a VR game, which is the game I'm going to talk about from a VR perspective, and like I said, I did get a few games. I haven't installed all of them because time, space, and other such things. I think I'm just going to talk about the one that I've actually played. I guess that would make the most sense, rather than talking about a couple of the games that I've got that I can't comment on because I haven't played. First up is the VR game. I am playing Half-Life Alyx. I had mixed feelings about this. This was a game that I really wanted to play, but originally when I'd seen it available, it was super expensive. Pretty sure when this game came out, they wanted 60 quid for it, which is just unheard of in the VR world. I think it came down a little bit in price, and then I think that there was a Black Friday sale, which was how I managed to get it at the price I did. 25% off. Leon bought it for me as a Christmas present. I bought the DLC for it, and then I left it sat there until Christmas. One reason or another, mostly my stupidity, I didn't realise that I required additional things to be able to play it. So I had been quote unquote given it early. Leon was like, why don't you play it Christmas Eve? but due to technology, I didn't get to play it until Christmas Day, I think. Yeah, it must have been, because I've played it for a little bit. You know, I have that thing where I don't like to review games before getting too far, because I don't like them to turn on me. Half-Life Alyx has turned on me, I'm afraid. And the review, you know, if I was in a position to review it properly, the review I'd be giving would be a glowing review. Bearing in mind that it takes a lot of its cues from Boneworks. I had a little bit of an issue with it, because I'd seen a video, I watched a video a little while ago about how Half-Life Alyx is kind of a bit of a rip-off of Boneworks. They were saying that apparently the Half-Life game was very poor, and everybody that was working on it had been sort of, not forced, but had been made to play Boneworks. I think this was before Boneworks was officially released. I think it had remained on a server somewhere for 6 months before being allowed to be released, and this was largely to allow the Half-Life game to catch up with it technology-wise. It was a video on YouTube about how Boneworks is actually a secret Half-Life game, which if you play Boneworks you can see that. Obviously we know that I've been, up till this point, and still am, have been a huge Boneworks fan. Just super enjoyable game. So I was a little apprehensive. I then saw a thing that said that Half-Life Alyx was the scariest VR experience ever. That put me off. And all of this before actually playing it. So I started it. There was also debate whether the graphics card that was in the computer would handle it. I was pleased to report that it did, and I was happy about that. The opening thing, the first thing you see in that game is it's proper like wow, breathtaking, I think would be one way of putting it. It looked amazing. There was some other elements, like there was a pigeon that was very detailed. Plays real nice. The gravity, it's not gravity, it's like the way you can pick stuff up, that takes a lot of getting used to. And if I'm honest, me being not the smartest man in the world, I actually realised recently that I've been doing it wrong. I've been pressing too many buttons. You only need to use one button, but you have to like press a button, highlight a thing, press a button, and then you have to like flick your wrist to get an object to fly through the air, so that you can then press the button to catch it, and you have to catch it. So yeah, you pick up various things. I've played it a lot. Played it quite a lot. I've got various weapons. You know, you can upgrade the weapons. You pick up like a currency throughout the game, and that's kind of that. However, now we talk about some of the downsides. So the downsides are that the start of the game is very much a let's get to grips with the game, let's get to grips with the way it plays. We'll slowly introduce some enemies for you to fight. Head crabs. Some of the head crabs, super creepy. Like when they come close to you, and like some of them have got like hairy legs, like you can see the hair standing up on the legs and stuff. Like some of them are armoured, so they're harder to kill, stuff like that. All make for entertaining games, but also at the same time it's like ugh. There is a section in that game, this is a spoiler, so you know, take from that what you will. There is a section in the game which is set largely in the dark, and the way that you are able to see is with a tiny torch. It's terrifying. proper terrifying. It is really scary. So bear that in mind if that's potentially an issue for you. However, having come out that side of it, carried on playing, full steam ahead, got a new gun, upgraded said gun, and so on and so forth. So, last night reached a point where I got killed by it's a bit like a boss. It's like a level boss, like the whole level is this one enemy, which you're trying to escape. You can't. It's one of those that you can't fight it, you can't shoot it, so you just have to try and escape from it. I died, which caused the game to crash, and I turned it off. I put it back on this afternoon while the little guy was sleeping, and yeah. So bit of a double-edged sword. It's been a real test. It's been a bit of an annoyance. This enemy is quite relentless. Think the Tyrant from Resident Evil 2, 3 maybe. 3 was Nemesis. I mean, it was the Nemesis. Could have been 3. Could have been 2. Whichever one had the Tyrant. Just how it just. There's a sound element. There's a relentless element. If it catches you, it's an instant death. There's that. I have lost my temper with it a few times. It takes a little bit of time to load, which isn't super fun always when you're like in the flow. I was in the middle of doing like that level, and the youngest woke up, so I had to save it and turn it off. One thing I do like about playing like PC VR is this game has a manual save function. When you press save, it saves instantly. That's a real nice feature coming from a console gamer's perspective. Shortest version is I'm going to finish this podcast and I'm going to go and put it on and play it for a bit, see how we get on. I have been enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a little less with this enemy, but my intention is to persist. There's been the odd puzzle here and there, which has been fun to try and work out. One of the things, and I know that I often come back to this, but I will often keep coming back to this. One of the things about these games, Boneworks, Stormland, I had been playing a lot of Stormland. I'd got so far, and I was going to talk about it, but I've kind of, because I've been playing like Half-Life a lot. Stormland's a game I will go back to, let's put it that way. So I'll probably just pick up the review side of it when I go back to playing it. So yeah, Boneworks, Stormland, Half-Life Alyx. These are probably the last 3 VR games and major games that I've played. And the one thing that stands out through all of those games is, touch wood as far as Alyx is concerned, they're all fun. And yeah, there's bits where you're fighting bosses and you're dying and it takes a long time to load and so on and so forth. But when you're in it and you're immersed in it, they're fun. And that really is the thing that does seem to be missing from mainstream games these days. And I'll highlight that shortly when I talk about the other game that I've been playing. It just strikes me, and it keeps striking me, that I'm playing these games and it's like, these games are fun. Boneworks is a masterpiece. Stormland, super enjoyable game. And like I say, touch wood, Alyx has been... here's the thing. Up until this boss level enemy type thing, I was having a lot of fun with this game. I really was enjoying it. And now I feel that we've had the turn. I did see something on the internet briefly yesterday, and I was like, that doesn't look fun from an Alex perspective. But we'll see. In some ways, I prefer to be able to shoot this enemy than I just have to avoid it, that sort of thing. So, who knows which way it's going to go. But the thing that seems to be missing from games is the fun. When did games stop being fun? Like I say, I'm going to come back to that. So yeah, I will attempt to keep you updated with as far as how Half-Life Alex goes or is going, depending on where I am the next time we speak. But yeah, if you're a gamer, ask yourself, when was the last time you had fun playing a game? Real fun, proper fun, fun. You might surprise yourself. So, speaking of fun, we're going to talk about one of the games I got for Christmas that I have actually been playing on the consoles. And that game is, I've got it here, I want to make sure I get it right. Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix, Marvel Avengers. Now, if you're a long time listener, you will know that I played the beta of this game and I thought it was terrible. I am pleased to report the game might in some ways be worse. Because what the beta did was it took some aspects of the game and removed them. And those were the really, really dull bits. And like I say, when I played the beta, I thought the game was awful. And then they wanted 60 quid for it when it was released. And then, as a company, they lost $46 million because they were given the name The Avengers to work with and couldn't make a decent game. Why am I playing it, you ask? Because I was curious and because I got it for Christmas. It was a gift. So I am playing it. I was talking about like a character system. Like if you had to pick to play a scenario, let's say, doesn't necessarily be a game, and you had the Avengers, as you will know them, from the movies and things, they'd be like a pecking order, wouldn't they? Hawkeye and Black Widow are probably the bottom rung. Then you'd have Captain America. Would he be barely above that? Nobody wants to play as Captain America. Then you'd have Hulk. Then you'd have Thor. And let's face it, we all just want to be Iron Man. So the main character, would it be the protagonist, I guess, is a character that barely ranks above some of those characters. It's like, yeah, she's super powered, but do we care? Let's face it, we just want to be Iron Man. I unlocked Iron Man last night, and unless the game forces me to play as other people, I'm probably just going to play as Iron Man for the rest of the game. Sam said to me at one point, he's like, where did they manage to go wrong with a game that's got the Avengers name attached to it? And ultimately, we all know the answer to this. The answer is that they were more focused on how much money they could get out of people than whether they were making a good game or not. And this comes back to what I was saying before. Where did fun go from games? Fun went when games were just viewed as a money-making thing. When it was, how much money can we get out of the consumer? That's when games stopped being fun. The games that, hit big, you've got your Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us Part 2, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Spider-Man, the Miles Morales game, I believe, has done reasonably well. All of them single player games, no multiplayer that I can think of off the top of my head. I know Ghost of Tsushima's introduced a multiplayer, but I'm pretty sure it's free. No loot boxes, no loot crates, no money. And all those games are heavy hitters in the gaming world. God of War, Games that fail. Avengers. I think at this point in time, it's considered to be a flop. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I had another one in my head at one point, but I can't think of it now. Games that are built around a monetary structure. I don't know when or if game companies are going to learn. And I realise that I'm not really giving you a review of the game. I reviewed the beta, and at this point in time I'm no further on than the stuff that they gave you in the beta. What I can say is the stuff that's actually in the game that wasn't in the beta is just quite dull. It's getting to the point where I am thinking that maybe it's a game to... I'm staring at a pile of games right now, so maybe it's a game to put to one side. I think we can agree it's not... You shouldn't be spending your time not enjoying the game you're playing. That really is a waste of time. So yeah, there's that. I'll keep you updated with that or anything else that I might end up playing. But yeah, that, ladies and jelly spoons, that is that. The post-Christmas, pre-New Year edition of the Darkest Timeline podcast. Obviously, by the time you get it, well into the new year. Some of you will have already broken your New Year's resolutions by the time you hear this. Think about that. Right, there we go. That's it for now. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. There you go. What do you think to that? Another one done. Oh, we're closing in on that 100 mark. We should all celebrate. Let us know how you want to celebrate. Party maybe? Zoom party? I don't know. You tell me. YouTube watchers, do be a YouTube subscriber, because then you're helping out the channel, and it's good to help. Audio listeners, there's SoundCloud and iTunes. I'm pretty sure you can subscribe to those. So, subscribe to those. That'd be awesome. Yeah, so that's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I will see you then. Bye.